The year is 1692. The soil of Salem is damp from the morning mist, and the streets hum with whispers. Nestled in the Massachusetts Bay Colony, Salem in 1692 was a tinderbox of fear, religion, and suspicion. It began with murmurs, girls convulsing, neighbors pointing fingers. The devil was not an abstract thought. He was a lurking presence, and every misfortune, a sick cow, a failed crop, a sudden death, might be his doing. In this atmosphere, accusation was more deadly than any disease. Over 150 people were accused of witchcraft and 20 would be executed. Their final words, recorded in court documents and remembered in local lore, are capable of haunting anyone for life. Sarah Good, the Defiant. Sarah Good was poor, widowed, and sharp-tongued. In Salem, that was enough to make you an outsider. And outsiders were easy prey. Two young victims of convulsions, Betty and Abigail, had accused the woman of spiritually tormenting them. Sarah was among the first to be accused in Salem, and when brought before the court, she denied it all with fiery contempt. On the day of her execution, July 19th, she turned to her prosecutor, Reverend Nicholas Noyes, and declared, "I am no more a witch than you are a wizard, and if you take away my life, God will give you blood to drink." Legend has it that years later, Noyes died choking on his own blood. Whether truth or folklore, Sarah's curse lived on in Salem's collective memory. Rebecca Nurse, the Martyr. Rebecca Nurse was 71, frail, and hard of hearing. She was known for her devotion to faith and charity. However, several young women, including two sisters, blamed the old woman for their seizures and epileptic fits, leading to her controversial trial. Even while neighbors backed her innocence, the court's verdict sealed her fate. She went to the gallows with a calm dignity that unsettled even her enemies. While her exact final words are uncertain, records show she maintained her innocence until the rope tightened. "I am innocent, and God will clear my name," she said. Centuries later, a memorial stone bears a verse in her honor, a tribute to a woman whose faith never wavered, even in the face of death. Mary Eastey, the plea. Mary Eastey, Rebecca Nurse's sister, was also condemned. She was respected, even loved, but the ongoing hysteria spared no one. The 58-year-old woman was accused along with her sister of tormenting young girls, leading to their famed trial. At her sentencing, Mary decided to plead, but not for her own life. "I petition your honors not for my own life, but that no more innocent blood be shed." It was not a cry for mercy, it was a call to conscience. Days later, she was hanged at the gallows. Her words, however, outlived the frenzy, setting a reminder that even in a world obsessed with the pursuit of justice, humans will always be humans. Martha Carrier, the Unbroken. They called Martha Carrier the Queen of Hell, a title she wore with scorn for her accusers. The first allegations came from her neighbor Benjamin Abbott, after he fell sick and blamed the mother of 7 for bewitching him. Later, she fell prey to the spiteful tongue of the Salem Girls, a group of women who took the time to label witches and were instrumental to the condemnation of Mary Eastey and her sister. Meanwhile, Martha refused to confess, refused to break, even as the rope awaited her. In court, she declared, "I would rather die than confess to such a falsehood." When she climbed the scaffold on August 19th, she faced the crowd without fear. Her silence in those final moments spoke louder than any curse. Giles Corey. Giles Corey was 81 years old, stubborn as stone, and accused of witchcraft alongside his wife. He was also accused by one of the Salem girls, who claimed they saw him in a revelation forcing them to sign the devil's book. During the trial, Corey refused to plead guilty or not guilty. This was not out of indecision, but out of defiance. According to the law, people who did not plead could not be tried. However, something more gory awaited them. The penalty for refusing to plead was peine forte et dure. This process involved stripping the prisoner naked and placing them under a heavy board with giant stones atop. They would be pressed under the heavy stones until a plea was given, or death came. For 2 days, Corey endured, and when urged to give in by the town's sheriff, Corwin, his only recorded words were, "More weight." After long hours of pain, Corey said before he died, "I curse you, Corwin, and all of Salem." In the months after these deaths, the trials collapsed under their own madness. By 1693, the accused who were not yet hanged were freed. It was only after the trials that people began to realize that the whole ordeal was never about witches, but more about power, spite, and validation. The highest accuser, with over 83 accusations, was just a 12-year-old girl named Ann Putnam. And more often than not, the names of victims were fed into the minds of the accusers. Years later, apologies were offered, but no apology could unhang a body or lift a stone from the chest of the dead. These haunting last words, whether whispered in prayer, shouted in defiance, or etched into legend, remind us that in Salem, truth was not enough to save you, but for some it was enough to die for. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload.